Hello, this is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and I'm going to talk about influenza, SARS-CoV-2, and monkeypox updates. So, in terms of influenza, this chart is showing the updates. I think last time I talked about this, it was probably week 45 or 46. For this influenza season compared to other influenza seasons. The largest one that we had was in 2017 to 2018 season. So you can see here that from the very beginning, we were having an uptick in the cumulative rate for hospitalizations of confirmed influenza. All right. So this y-axis is hospitalizations per 100,000. So as you can see here, we're approaching the 40 mark per 100,000, whereby at this moment in time in previous influenza seasons, we were only at maybe 2. So this is concerning here. As you can see, the gap between the highest rate that we had in 2017 is growing here, right? So let's keep in mind that this is a problem. This is a cumulative rate for the United States. Now, if we take a look at what's going on in New York, since that's where I'm at, this chart really shows well what is going on here. Here, this is positive influenza laboratory results. The previous chart that I showed was hospitalizations. So these are the number of individuals that are testing positive with an influenza test. All right, and I'm recording this December 17th. So about right here. Now, it's 1 week behind in data. But based on this chart, you can see the previous years here. And you are seeing this season, way higher in terms of confirmed cases of influenza. So, keep that in mind. Now, it dovetails into something that was going on during the games. Individuals that were getting sick during the soccer World Cup. There was the France team. And then, there was obviously Wall was, died from supposedly an aortic aneurysm. Now, he looked pretty damn healthy to me. And then I'll do another video on him alone, but there seems to be some sort of flu-like thing going on during the games, during the soccer World Cup games. So is that manifesting into some new type of virus? Is something is it something novel? Is it something that is mutated to a point where the normal testing for certain types of pathogens isn't working? Who knows? Who knows? More needs to be investigated on what was going on at the games. But this chart is showing the influenza in New York. All right, it's way much higher. I'm noticing in the last 2 weeks or so, more people are using masks on the mass transit. I've also noticed the elderly coming, the ones that I'm in contact with, some of these elderly individuals do seem to have some sort of upper respiratory infection. What is going on also in New York and also in the United States in general Influenza is much higher, but RSV, not just for children, but RSV, which is a respiratory virus, uh, in the elderly. So this is kind of compounding this problem here. Now, another thing that most people aren't talking about is that you can get what is called a secondary infection. You can get a viral infection, let's say from influenza, and then it gets to a point where it sets in motion some sort of pneumonia. All right. And so that you get like a secondary pneumonia because of bacterial. So it starts as a viral for some patients, and then it ends up becoming a bacterial infection. And this is the reason why some doctors would say, okay, if you only have a viral infection and there's not a high chance of having a secondary infection, but you just let it, you just don't even treat it and just let the regular influenza just burn through that patient, right? And it clears itself. But in some patients, what will happen is that you have such a upper respiratory infection, and they may already have been weakened from SARS-CoV-2 or a previous upper respiratory infection, maybe some sort of comorbidity because of COPD or some sort of restrictive pulmonary disease or something. And it could manifest itself with a secondary bacterial infection after the influenza, and that's why it's important to give antibiotics. But you can't just give antibiotics at the very beginning to everybody, because then you're going to have antibiotic resistance. So you have to be careful with that. But influenza and this, and it doesn't show up on this chart, but that secondary infection of some sort of pneumonia that can set in. That is what's going on with influenza. Now, with what's going on with SARS-CoV-2, I want to show the worldly chart here. Now, the last time I talked about this is around here. So cases were going down. Now, this is the weekly cases. And cases were going down. But then cases started to blip back up a little bit. Now, what's driving this? Deaths are still kind of leveled off. Now, if you look at the 20-day chart, around the world, we're at about 800,000 new cases daily. About around 800, anywhere 700 to 800,000 per day in the world. All right. Now, Japan is spiking on weekly cases. Okay. And they are at about the 750, 800, about 850,000 per week mark. South Korea has also, since the last time I've done this, has been starting to blip up. United States. Now, last time I talked about this on the weekly chart, we were, basically, coming down, maybe flattening out a little bit, but there's a little bit of an uptick. Now, what's driving the uptick in the United States? Now, if we look at California, California has gone up. Deaths on the weekly have plateaued out, but we've also had more administration. So I suspect because of a 2-month lag, we may actually see more of a blip up because of ADE. New York, even though influenza has been really climbing, we have a little bit of a tick up in SARS-CoV-2 weekly cases. So when I was doing this, it was around 30,000. Now we're at about 46,000. So it went up about 15,000 per week in New York. So there's a little bit of a blip up. This might be the very beginnings of another wave in New York. In Texas, another wave is just starting. Illinois, another wave is just starting, right? But in Illinois, it may have peaked and then maybe it's starting to go down a little bit. We need to see another couple weeks of data for Illinois that may be already played out. Looks like Florida's just starting. New Jersey, similar dynamic from New York. It's starting to blip up. So the point I'm making is the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 states, the weekly cases are going up. Not so much with deaths, but the weekly cases are going up. Death total for the United States is 1,087,000. All right, that's the coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2. Now let's go over to monkeypox. Okay, in monkeypox, we have the cumulative chart here. Okay, what I want to show here is that the United States is plateauing out at about 30,000 cases. All right, it started for the United States at around, when was the first case? The first cases were coming in on June 3rd. All right, so now we're plateauing out at about 30,000 or so. All right, we'll probably break 30,000 maybe in a few weeks, but it's plateauing out. You can still see that there's still a increase at the world level. Now, if we look at the map, what's going on? You know, the United States is plateauing out, as you can see in this chart, right? Canada is plateauing out. Spain is plateauing out. France is plateauing out. UK plateaued out. Germany plateaued out. So these were all the big ones, right, at the very beginning. Then Brazil came on and started climbing. You look at that curve, it has a dynamic that's like the world curve, not the US curve. So the US curve started plateauing out here. And you can see with Brazil, it's still increasing. You look at Peru, same thing, increasing. You look at Argentina, increasing. Look at Chile, increasing. All right. Brazil plateaued out. Nigeria looks like it's increasing, but it's kind of staggered with its data that's coming in. Plateaued out in Congo. So something's going on in South America. Mexico, also increasing. Hasn't plateaued out yet. So the Central and South American, so Central and South American cases are increasing. And something is going on with Africa. I mean, data is not really good in getting there, but you know, I think in some cases we're going to be seeing Central and Southern Africa being increasing, but in the near term for mpox or monkeypox, it's South America and Central America. All right, even El Salvador, and even though they don't have a lot of cases, it's increasing. Costa Rica, same thing. Panama, same thing. So there's a dynamic in the Western Hemisphere below the United States, so Central America, South America, where you have a lot of increased cases that are driving this increase in the world. I think that is concerning, and it's concerning for two reasons. One, for that region, it's growing, right? So the world numbers are starting to increase for mpox, and maybe variants will pop out of that. Who knows? That are troublesome. But there are a lot of immigrants that are coming from these countries and coming over the border into the United States. Okay, so when you have that problem, cases may start to increase at the world level, or not only at the world level, but at the United States level. So again, to get to the point here, we've plateaued at about 30,000. But if we start to have a blip up of new cases because of immigrants that are maybe asymptomatic, but become symptomatic, don't realize that they have monkeypox and they come over to the border or whatever, we may actually see a blip up of cases in the United States that are actually because of this migration that's taking place. So when it comes to monkeypox, Central America, this is Central America. It says, Mexico, Central America, and South America are problems, and Africa, especially Central and Southern Africa, I think are going to start being hotspots that might start to tick up more. I mean, even Greenland has 2. Iceland has 16. Finland, Sweden, Norway plateaued. Finland looks like it's increasing, and Finland looks like it's plateauing. India, surprisingly, has a low number relative to the size of the population. That is very surprising. So maybe, we'll also see a blip up in India. You're not seeing that much in China. I wonder why. I don't know. So there's something weird about that data, maybe. Only 2 in Russia, so just some areas maybe aren't coming online with truthful data, or maybe data collection is bad, or it's something, I don't know. But definitely South America, Central America, Mexico, those are hotspots at this moment in time. And with the migration into the United States, it's going to potentially bring up the numbers in the United States, even though it looks like we plateaued at this moment in time. So that is the update. That's the update for influenza, SARS-CoV-2, and mpox. So what do you need to do to handle the flu season? Some of the best things that you can do are to go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get some of the health supplements that I offer for the flu season. But on top of it, you can get other supplements that help with, anti-aging, skincare, a lot of different things, but specifically for the flu season. What you can do is get the liquid nano silver. This is liquid nano silver 35, max 35. I also sell it as a max 14, or a silver solution, which is ppm 30. So 35 is parts per million, and 14 parts per million, and 30 parts per million. So get the liquid, take a teaspoon a day. If you're sick, take a tablespoon a day. Put it in your mouth, keep it in your mouth, maybe even gargle with it for maybe 30 to 60 seconds, and then swallow it. All right, do that daily. Get the lozenges. I have, a few types of lozenges. I have, different flavors, right? I have a 40 count that is the ginger, right? The 40 count ginger. I have a 20 count that's menthol. I have another 20 count that's cherry flavor. And then I have a green apple flavor. So go to the store and get the lozenges. And this has nanosilver in the lozenges. And you just, suck on those, especially if you have a sore throat. In addition to when you're sick, you end up getting a lot of reactive oxygen species, all right, because the cells are stressed, right? And when cells are stressed, they oxidize more, right? So you need to take a strong antioxidant. Well, one of the best antioxidants you can get is C60. So get the 2 ounce, 4 ounce, or 8 ounce, and take this every day to reduce that reactive oxygen species and that stress in the cells. So you have a stronger mitochondrial health to create the ATP that you need for your immune system to fight the infection. All right. So you can take this even if you're not sick. And what that does is it's part of the anti-aging protocol and strengthens your immune system. But this will bring down that ROS, help with the mitochondrial health. The more ATP you have, the more energy you have for your immune system. So when you do get, let's say, influenza or RSV or SARS-CoV-2, you're not weakened already. You're already kind of boosted up, and you have a better chance of fighting it. On top of that, a great way to neutralize pathogens, whiten your teeth, freshen your breath, and better cardiovascular health is to take my toothpaste, right? I have this toothpaste. It's better than anything that Alex Jones sells. You try this toothpaste and you're going to be amazed that you're going to say, wow, Paul, this is the best toothpaste I've had. But because it has nanosilver in it, and no fluoride. That's another thing that you want is no fluoride in your diet, so make sure that you have filtered water and, you cook with filtered water and reduce as much as you can fluoride in your diet. But by taking this toothpaste, because it doesn't have any fluoride and it has the nanosilver in it, it will neutralize pathogens. And because of that, you're going to have less plaque. And when you have less plaque, you're going to have less gingivitis, you're going to have less microscopic plaques. And because you're reducing the pathogens in your mouth, you will lower the chances of cardiovascular disease. So taking this every day would help a lot. So get some toothpaste, right? Now, since that's what you can get for when you're sick, right? You get the nanosilver, you get the C60, you get some vitamin C. You also want to get zinc and magnesium. So I take zinc and magnesium every day, but you should especially take this if you are sick. Now, let's say you're more concerned about cardiovascular health, right? You need to take care of the lipid levels, the types of lipids you have. All right, there's LDL, there's oxidized LDL and cholesterol and triglycerides. There's a lot of different types of lipids that you need to worry about. The standard idea is that you want an increase in HDL and you want a decrease in LDL. All right. Well, to improve that cardiovascular health, get omega-3. All right. This will help with cardiovascular health. Right. Now, most people don't have a proper gut biome. Because they don't have a proper gut biome, they don't metabolize correctly and they get sick more often. You'd be amazed that if you have a better microbiota in your body, that you will age less, you'll have more energy, and you will fight infection much better. All right. So I have two different types of probiotics. I have a boomer one and an amnio one. The boomer is in powder form and capsule form with the amnio product. So, but you want to take my pre and probiotic every day. And what I do is I take this every day and I mix it with lignans. All right. And this is like flaxseed. This is flax hull powder, right? And what I put this together because they're in powder form and I mix it actually in hummus. But what this will do, the probiotic will help with the gut biome, right? Well, what this will do is help with hormonal hormones. So if you're male or female, this is you can buy this product either way. It doesn't matter gender, but this will help with hormonal levels. And especially when we get older, our hormones get kind of out of whack, right? So to kind of get that back into balance, especially when we're older and things kind of start to go down, to get that in balance, you want to get this product here. All right. So I mix this in hummus actually in the afternoon with actually the pre and probiotic. I take this, they're both in powder form, and mix it with hummus, but you can mix it with water or anything soft. And then turmeric is a really important supplement, right? That brings down that inflammation, right? So if you're sick, right, I take this every day. So even if you're not sick, you're bringing down that inflammation, making sure your body is in homeostasis, and it's kind of part of that anti-aging protocol and brings up your immune system, right? But if you're sick, you want to take this. This will help with that inflammatory response, right? You want to take the C60 because that's bringing down the reactive oxygen species. You want to take the Max 35 because that is neutralizing pathogens. You want to take the lozenges because it's especially when you have that sore throat, you want to clear that out before it gets it becomes respiratory. Because once it's respiratory, then it's harder to get rid of the infection, right? So you want to catch this early. But what's better is if you take this every day, like what I'm doing, and you reduce the chances of catching it. Because if you have a strong constitution, if you have a strong immune system, then you're going to be able to fight infection much better. Keeping the gut biome good, making sure that you don't have a problem in your digestive system as you're digesting proteins, carbohydrates, or fats. And you take this product, right? You won't have, if you're digesting properly, you won't have inflammation, and your body doesn't have to spend energy fighting that inflammation, right? So taking digestive complexes are really important. But like for me, what I'm doing is I'm taking that probiotic, taking lignans, and the turmeric. So these two are powdered, right? So I'm controlling the hormonal levels. I am controlling the digestion of the fats and the proteins and carbohydrates that I'm consuming in the day. I'm bringing down the reactive oxygen species. So I am boosting up ATP because my mitochondria is healthier, right? Because it's not dealing with reactive oxygen species. I'm bringing down inflammation with the turmeric. Right? And then right here, ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is great for controlling the glucose levels. When you control the glucose levels in your blood, then you're reducing that inflammatory response, right? And it's also helping with cardiovascular health because it's not gunking up all of your, with high glucose levels, you have more inflammation. It adds to oxidation to the LDL and more plaque buildup. So by taking ashwagandha, you're controlling your blood glucose levels and bringing down that inflammatory response and reducing the chances of cardiovascular disease through through hyperglycemia. And this is kind of like part of that anti-aging protocol, reducing that inflammation, getting your body back into homeostasis. So those are some of the many products that I have in my store. All right. But if you are just focused on just dealing with RSV, influenza, season, then I recommend get some toothpaste, get some C60, get some turmeric, because that's the anti-inflammatory. Get max 35, take the teaspoon or a tablespoon a day, and get some lozenges, and that will get you pretty far. And I have them in different flavors, pretty far for the season. But if you are concerned about really boosting up your immune system before you get, before you contract something like influenza or, the common cold or whatever, listen to what I'm saying about that anti-aging protocol, because it'll help boost up your immune system and bring you into proper homeostasis. And those are the things, like I said, the ashwagandha helps with blood glucose levels. Turmeric brings down that inflammation. C60 brings down the reactive oxygen species. The digestive enzymes, they help with digesting carbohydrates, fats, and protein. Take the pre and probiotic. That will help to build up a good gut biome. The lignans, which will help with hormonal levels. Omega-3, that's going to help with cardiovascular. Clarity factor, I take this every day, twice a day. I take it in the morning and mid-afternoon. This helps me be able to concentrate as I'm doing my medical studies. Zinc and magnesium, especially when you start getting sick, you want to take this. And then, if you're sick, take the lozenges. I have different flavors, the cherry, the apple flavor, the menthol flavor. And then I have, those are in 20 count. And then I have a 40 and a 20 count for the ginger. That will get you really far in terms of boosting up your health. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and take a look at the products that I offer to help support my work and to help improve your health, especially when we're going through RSV, influenza, SARS-CoV-2 season, right? You need to strengthen your immune system. And by doing that, you will fare a lot better. If you don't get sick and you follow this anti-aging protocol, you'll actually age slower compared to your peers that aren't doing it. So another way you can support my work is making sure that you subscribe to all my channels. I have 3 YouTube channels. I have a Brighteon, BitChute, and Rumble channel. And all the links are in the description. Please also subscribe to my Patreon account. That helps to support my work because YouTube has demonetized me. And because I cover COVID, and I'm not some of these YouTubers that were covering COVID and don't cover COVID anymore and trying to keep their monetization. I have stuck to covering the crisis. And you can go to my website, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and on the front page, down at the bottom, the homepage down at the bottom, you can donate from Stripe or PayPal to help support my work. Or you can also, and the links are in the description in each of my videos, donate through Buy Me a Coffee. That is a great way to help support my work. Again, my store is at the-studio-reykjavik.com. All the links are in the description of each of my videos. Thank you for supporting my coverage of this crisis, and I hope you a happy holiday. And just take my advice. If you take control of the situation by trying to boost up your immune system, you're going to fare much better than ones that don't. And if you're lucky and you don't get anything, then by following this protocol on a monthly basis, you're going to have this accumulative effect, right? And you're start seeing yourself age slower compared to your peers because you're bringing down that inflammation. You're taking care of your cardiovascular. You're bringing down that reactive oxygen species. You're boosting up your ATP, right? When you're doing all these things, neutralizing pathogens, right? When you're doing all these things on a regular basis, you will actually get healthier and age slower, and your body will actually start healing. So thank you for listening, and I'll give you some more updates and more videos pretty soon. So have a nice night.